agent feedback that they're hard to get a hold of. For the turning 65 leads, between 6 and 7 has been like a gold mine in terms of setting appointments. So try that for a little bit and see, okay? Know the audience, okay? So you don't pull who was mailed, but I need to tell you, okay? For T65, right, the thing that turns the conversation around is talking about you're going to get, and I think Ryan even has a new script for this. I want you to, Mrs. Jones, take out a shoebox and put everybody's offer in the shoebox because I represent all of those clients. So I'm going to actually be different than that. I'm going to come back, we're going to go do a fact finder, and then I'm going to come back and we'll make the MedSub sale when it's time. So when you talk to the T65 person about you represent more than one company, that's actually helped the conversation, okay? The second thing is MedSub households. So if you're working the MedSub leads, they're older and you should be able to get a hold of them. I haven't gotten any feedback on the MedSub. Like T65s, I had people tell me they're hard to get a hold of. And that's when we worked on who's got a lot of appointments for T65s, and that's when he's calling. For MedSubs, I haven't had that, so I'd be interested to see if that's what it is. But those households have a need and means, okay? So one of the reasons we get real high response rates, which is great, right? But the reason we get real high response rates is because of who we mail. It's not even so much like the kid's 4-color and it's got a person in it and all that stuff's great. The more important thing in direct response is that you pull in the right person. So the person that we mail for Medicare responded to a Medicare mailer. It doesn't necessarily mean that they want to buy Medicare. What it means is they don't have a person, right? At Bankers, we mailed, I don't know, millions of long-term care leads to get annuity sales, right? You need to get someone to hold, to raise, right? Right, it's not necessarily, and the sales we're seeing coming off of the MedSub households are for a lot of annuities, a lot of MedSub, and some life. Okay, so think of it as, here's somebody over 65 that needs help. The other thing is, I mail income 30,000 and higher, and they have a responder index, which is a statistical profile that I've taken from different response rates in the industry, and I apply to the names to pull in people that look like they're likely to have a need. So they also own a single family home or a condo. So they have a decent senior income, because income for seniors is squirrely. Sometimes people just put down what they get from Social Security and they're sitting on a boatload of money, right? So we use a combination of things. They own their own home. It could be a condo or a home, single family home. They have income of 30,000 or more, and sometimes income is done on their block group, right? So they're on a pretty nice block, and they have a high likelihood to have an insurance need based on other stuff they're doing, okay? So part of that conversation is knowing who you mailed. Now I will tell you, people that are really high net worth, like if we're mailing, like one of the things that could explain what you're doing is if we're mailing a really, really wealthy zip code, but they actually just want the book because they have a financial planner, we need to look at a different zip code. So there's different things that can specifically come into a geography that are more detailed than what we pull, but that's kind of who you're talking to on the phone, and they're the best practices for what has been going on.
So what about anybody under $30,000 a year, whatever? Are we just not marketing them at all?
Right now, we're not mailing them. And the reason is because I don't want you to be in a house that has no money and say I can get a poor lead for cheaper. Like I can get a lead for a poor person for less money than this. Like I want you in a house where you're going to get multiple sales. You can tell me you want another lead program for a different house, and that's okay, but this is where we wanted to start. Okay? Now, this might be your favorite page, you up front. I just want the book.
This is why we came to the meeting.
I just want the book. Okay. So if you cannot, you're on the phone with the person and you simply cannot get them to let you stop by. Oh, where's the woman that said she got porch? All right.
I got porch too.
She left. I got porch.
I got
She
porch.
left. So anyhow, so if you can't get the person to give you an appointment, right, or let you drop off the book, right? So that's still first, right? If you can get the person to see you, that's still best. If not, right, you're actually going to squelch the person's cynicism, right? So I knew this was too good to be true. I got that lead kit that said no cost and no obligation, and I know you're lying, right? So you're not lying. You say, absolutely, I understand, Mrs. Jones, that all you wanted the book, and I can get you the book right now. If you're near a computer, I'll give you my web address, and you can get the book that way. You could just print it out. Like I said, no cost and no obligation, and I'm absolutely going to give you that book right now. Oh, you're not in front of your computer right now? That's okay. Give me your email address and I'm going to send you a link for the book. Right? And I'll show you where that email is. So now, you can't tell me I can't come, and you can't tell me I can't even drop it off, and you can't say you're not going to go to my webpage, and you're not even going to give me your email address. Would you like to come to my office and pick up the book? Like if you want the book, I have all these ways to get you the book. Which one is most convenient for you? And by the way, Mrs. Jones, since you asked for the book, you have to have questions. If you want to set an appointment right now, I understand. When you get the book, highlight it and call me, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. You're giving the person the book, right? You're giving them all kinds of ways to get the book that are free and cost you no money in gas or time. If they don't want, like, the whole conversations, and I've actually listened into 3 or 4 calls just like this in Shocky's office. As soon as you say, I can give you the book right now, do you want to go to my webpage or do you want to give me your email address and I'll send you a link for it? They all of a sudden are like, oh, email's better. Like they actually answer, and the answer isn't, you know, you're lying to me when you said no cost, no obligation. Right? So if you haven't tried these, try these. Right? And I want to take a look at where you're mailing, because this has actually turned the conversation around. And I actually had people say, somebody showed up in, whose branch was it? The person was shocked. Might have been in Tennessee with their book highlighted. Right? So it actually works with the right person. Now there's some people that really want the book and you're just going to have, like they can get it from email and you'll never hear from them again. But it's not the experience and it's not the sales results we're getting. So let's take a look at where we're mailing for you and try some of these techniques and see. And the other thing is, so that's where you, here, so this is where, so you go in here, and Pat Grant with, okay, good, I made a big email, just wants the book. So I check this, I come over here to broadcast email. And you can do this once for the 5 people you talk to, or you could do it with each person. You go in here and you pick MedSup Guide. Okay? Thank you for your time. Please take a look at the Current Medicare Guide. It was great talking with you on the phone when you called me a liar today, and I hope I should have helped you with your call. Now I'd like to invite you to visit my webpage, and it's a click to the link, and it's got the, I'll show you the page, it's got the book at the bottom.
Will it show a visit number?
Yeah. What?
Oh, okay. I said, you said something.
No, it doesn't say that.
That was the old script, that was the old
I just say, that's the one I didn't show you.
Chandel.
That's the one email that got through. So then you send email, and then you can take a look at if they viewed it, and then after they viewed it, you called and said, listen, I wanted to make sure you got the book. You seemed like you really wanted the book. Got you the book. Did you have any questions? Did you highlight it?
Would you like to receive my quarterly newsletter?
Right. I could put you on for newsletter, and if you're not ready now, I could give them exactly.
Well, now that you email the book, you have their email address, you're gonna continue to.
Right. All right. Does that seem like it would work?
Cards that are mailed back with.
Sure.
No, never satisfied. Look at that.
No phone number.
Well, try this, and then tell me if you're less satisfied. How about that? Try it for 2 weeks, and then let me know.
You just believe
The other thing is, let's take a look. I didn't hear that. Do I want to say what?
He said you blew his chance for a gift card.
I told him he just blew his chance for a gift card.
What about a card you
No,
get
he
back
gets a
that-
nice card in 2 weeks when he tells me it worked. What?
What about a card that you get back that has nothing on it? Phone number, email address, nothing, and you can't find their phone book because they're unlisted. You can't find their phone number. What do you do with that? I
You
mean,
drop by, yeah, that.
I tried door knocking 3 of them in a row in Myrtle, they were all gated communities, so that was fun.
So you can mail him the book.
Okay,
There was
put
somebody
all-
here. Who did I mail books for?
Him?
Him? Yeah, I mailed out books for you. Look how awesome you are. You mailed them a book with the personal letter and a
Something,
signature that
yeah,
looks just like mine.
This guy, Gates in question, he's bitching for a lunch.
You are, but you're sneaky quiet. All right, yeah. Let me tell you, Grandma, you are. He's sneaky quiet behind me asking questions.
Well,
I don't just
he's a
answer.
master.
He's getting more questions
She's
answered.
sitting right here.
Yeah. So anyhow, no, you get a gift card. No, before I forget, get a gift card.
Which one?
How'd you know the cheap ones work?
Dinner's gotta be really good. Sarcasm got his. Sarcasm got his. Two, all
Actually,
right.
the funniest
You
joke
don't
so
like
far.
errors, right?
I hate errors.
Not going for dinner.
In each of those.
Yes, I know. But here's the thing. That's exactly what, so is it in what's being said?
Yeah.
Oh, if they're typos, oh, where?
In the Medicare one.
Where?
it says
So
There's
tell me.
one in collecting Medicare slide and
I
also
can
get you book right
Where's this one?
You a book,
Oh, there might be more.
get you book,
Get you.
Book right now.
and then on your collecting Medicare slide, it's like your contract.
Where?
So what?
Who is you Medicare
Go,
You
coverage?
Medicare.
Medicaid.
You did not know.
Michael,
Not
this
saying.
is South Carolina, that's right.
It's the first bullet point to you. The second
First point, third
Move
you.
down.
Yankees.
Left.
Should be yours.
It is
You
yours.
Medic should be yours.
Thank you.
Come on, Michael, that'd be Margaret, I know what the answer to this question is, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Am I gonna like it?
I'm not sure. All of the prospects that we have boxes of, some of us have a few, some of us have boxes of prospects. We're gonna have to put those folks on this ourselves, aren't we? Unless we hire somebody to do it for us.
So this is a great, so I like your question, you're not gonna like my answer, but there's a couple different ways to go about doing this, okay? The first thing I will tell you is back to the duplicate, and somebody had a client 2 times. Right now, if you upload a list, right? So when you go through and you upload a list, which is really easy to do, right, John?
Yes.
It's.
Yep.
Well, he's talking about paper. He don't have it in that.
Yeah, no, I don't have it, no, I don't have
No, we're
it.
gonna have him break open his piggy bank in a minute, but for right now, okay? If you upload a list, when you bring in names from a list, it looks through the whole database and it makes sure that that phone number's nowhere else, that email is nowhere else, so you don't have duplicates, okay? What we're not catching right now, that we have to figure out how to do without screwing you up, is when you go to enter one, right? You go out, you sell Mrs. Smith, you come back, you put Mrs. Smith in. If Mrs. Smith is legitimately your client, but she also belonged to him 2 weeks ago for something else, I can't not let both of you have it. So what we're thinking about doing is a monthly sweep for all entered by agent names, and you're the judge, and you go through and you say, geez, okay, you guys have to share it because you both have something legit in the household or whatever.
Our rules of engagement is the first app written there. That agent's still
Well,
here. It's there.
the problem they're running into is that
That's
there's
okay
so
for
many
you,
of
but
these.
I shouldn't make that call.
Yeah.
I should not be making that call. So
Then
right
if you
now,
got
if you
the-
add in one at
Let's
a
say you
time,
and Lauer went to house and Dave went back and wrote an annuity. Now all 3 of you guys technically have that person as a client, but you guys had it first. That's the problem they're running into.
but I will tell you, of all the branches here, John knows exactly who has what and how many people have it. I mean, if I can build it to match what John is doing, that would be the way to have shared clients and have it work.
But we have had that happen here several times. I know Greg, you had one of our clients, right? Our existing client list can't come up in here either.
No, it already is in
It's in
there.
there.
So if we loaded people before your clients were loaded,
Yeah.
sure,
Okay, that's my point.
right.
Okay.
But right now, any phone number or any email address, so your clients right now look to me like a phone number and an email address. For any phone number or email address that we go to input, like anybody here goes to input via a list,
Yeah.
you're gonna catch it. Any lead that I go to load, you're gonna catch it. It checks on the number I assign, phone number, and email address. If you go and you sit down, so let's just say I give you a lead and you sit down and you type in that same person after you get the lead and make it a client, you're there twice. So it's when you do the individual thing, when you do this, right, add, when you go in and you do the adding of a new contact here, that doesn't scrub against anything right now. And I can't figure out how to have each time you go to add somebody, have it go through, I don't know, 9 million names to not let you put in somebody you just sold. Right? So we'll figure it out. It's probably going to be a monthly run, so it would be a temporary inconvenience, but the admin or somebody closer to the business than me would be making the decision or say, okay, you both share it, and then we have the shared bucket, in you go. Right? So there has to be a certain amount of freedom and flexibility for it to be your system, and then there has to be like where you can't get redundant for what I'll call lower caliber names. So prospects should never get in there, they should never trump anybody. A lead should never trump a client. So all those business rules are written. It's you having the freedom to put in a name on your own independently, that we have to figure out how to make that catch the rest of the database, and what are the right rules of engagement for you, the agent, right?
That's fine. That's for like splits and stuff, right? That's what you're referring to.
It's for anybody. If you sat down and you typed in all his clients one at a time, I'd catch it monthly. I wouldn't catch it as you're putting them in,
Okay.
right? And that's what we have to figure out what to do with. But for right now, because John, so if you actually pay a college student $10 an hour to key in all your paper into an Excel spreadsheet, we've got a template on the site for what it should be keyed into, and then they go to load it. It won't create any duplicates, right? You'll be able to have them loaded into the system, and it'll be faster.
Could there be a
Now,
prospect out?
thank you. all my Mets up, all my clients that I have, can I send them a lead, an email, a lead card for life insurance, for example?
Soon, yeah.
You have to have all their email addresses though.
You
No,
want it,
paper.
you want a paper. So, fabulous segue. All right, so when I actually eventually
Do I get a
get
card?
to the last,
You already got one. You said-
I'll tell you what, I doesn't
You're
matter.
gonna get a meal card for
that
the
has a card.
homely.
No, all right, so
Homeless
listen, when I
shelter.
get to this end part, the policyholder marketing part, the next kit up is the Social Security claiming guide, and we actually bought the rights to the book from Boston College. They wrote a when to claim Medicare, so it's actually an American Senior Benefits claiming guide. We're gonna have two versions of the kit. One is gonna be a straight up final expense life lead piece, and one is gonna be, do you want me to explain when you should take your Social Security? Right, same looking
Wow.
kit, it's gonna be tested probably in the next 4 to 5 weeks. And then, the straight up life one is gonna have policyholder copy that I'm testing in Texas, and I can test here if you're interested, to send it to existing Medicare clients to get the second policy in the household. So, yeah, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna opt in and say, mail all my policyholders or whatever, or Mike's gonna opt in on your behalf. And then we're gonna go through and do that. We'll probably pull, like, the way it works is you probably pull like 5,000 clients off the system and mail them on behalf of anybody here, and then we see what happens. And for the benefit of being the pilot, you track your sales, so I can go to a different office and say, in Somerville, they close 6 out of every 10 leads, right? So that's how that works. Okay. 7? Was I too low? That's too low. That's too low. I'm sorry, I did not mean to insult. All right. So then this is the impact on sales, which we talked about. All right, so these are the real numbers out of Shockey's office, Wayne Gray's office, Lanson with T65, and I'm seeing similar things happen across the country. Okay, so the example's small, the opportunity is large. Okay, this page is really important, and everybody is in business to make money, but from where I stand, this page is equally as important to me, and these are agent verbatims. So the first one is Larry Gray out of Salt Lake City. I got 6 leads, contacted 5, got appointments with 4, and sold 3. You keep the leads coming. The next one is Gary Durbin out of Shockey's office. They're the best leads I've ever had. More people answer the phone. The ones I make an appointment with are there, and when I get there, they're interested in what I have to offer. I actually videotaped this guy, and he's like, they have their papers out. Like, his big deal is, I get there, they have their papers out. Like, they're serious. Like, ooh. Right? The next is out of Virginia, Todd Riley. And he's new. He just started the program. I called 7 of the leads I received and set appointments with 5 of them. The calls took less time than most with better results. All the people, including the people who I didn't get an appointment with, remember sending in the card. He's who I called and said, when are you calling and what are you saying? And he calls between 6 and 7 all the time. Then I called people in Shockey's office that are getting good conversion rates off T65s, and I said, when do you call? And they say, after I get my kids home from school. So I'm like, is that after dinner or before dinner? They said, normally I want to do it before dinner, but I get to it after dinner. So it looks like that's 6 to 7, like I have 2 or 3 agents, just like, they're not writing down notes for me, but when I ask them what it is they're doing generally to get the result, this is what they're doing. Some of the people are actually waiting for my call, and I'm getting more than just Mets up sales. The people waiting for the call, I know from listening to them on the phones, they're the people that say, hey, did you get my letter? You get the letter from my boss? They're the people that are like taking credit for all the things on that slide. Okay? All right, so that's the LEAD program. So we need to see if the stuff we talked about today gets you better results or gets you closer to what I'll call the American Senior Benefits average, right? So we'd like to see above that. So we'll take a look at the technique, then we'll take a look at the geography, right? And we'll figure out what's wrong with it, that you're not getting those results, because that's what you should get. There's, you have to get so many responses for something to be statistically significant. And what that means is it wasn't an accident. If you do the same thing again, you will get the same outcome. Okay? This is why I bring sugar. For people to stay awake until this part. So the results are statistically significant. You need more than 50 people in a bucket to be able to say it will happen again in the same scale if you do it somewhere else. And we're seeing it happen. So there very easily something unique about your market or unique about who we were mailing that we're missing. So I don't mind like figuring it out, but you should get the results. Right? So if we're not, we just have to work at it, figure out why not. Okay? All right, email marketing and agent web pages. All right, so email marketing. So you all now have an email system. Do you know you now have an email system for marketing? Right? You know you all send newsletters out that are very attractive, right?
We made them ourselves, of course we have.
And they have your picture
Have my
on them,
picture on it.
right? And if you have not sent your mother,
home
your
run.
grandmother, or your neighbor one already, you're crazy, right? So here's what we do. The thing about the e-newsletter program is a great way to consistently pay attention to people and have them feel that they're important to you, right? And the sales value is there because they have your contact information, right? So back to being found and being trusted and educating. But there's little things that you can add on to that to get more mileage, okay? So in the April newsletter, so every newsletter has a couple different things going on with it. The newsletters, if you ever want to see them, are in the document library. And let's go into newsletters. This is where the lead pieces are. All the emails that we use are there. And if you pull up the April newsletter, right, you can view it online. This is the one that's going out tomorrow. And it should have gone out last week, but I held it up to go out tomorrow so that we could all talk today about what we want to do with it, okay? So this is the newsletter that goes to everybody in your database that has an email address. It should not be this slow, except clearly I have a lot of things open. Okay. So this is what it looks like. The formula for this is always the same. There's a banner. This is where your picture is. So you can understand why I was unhappy with Douglas the elk. Okay? This is where your name and your phone number goes. You're going to call me and say, why is the phone number blue on a blue banner? And it's because it makes it a link so somebody could call you if they're reading it from their phone. Okay? So it's not blue on blue. It's blue because it's a link. Okay? So the first thing you do is you do a nice little introduction about welcome, this is, your monthly information resource. So spring is approaching. You have a nice little intro. Then you have something about health and wellness. This month it's keeping your skin healthy in the warmer weather. See all these footnotes here? They're there on purpose. It's a marketing decision to include them so that you're legit and sourced. Okay? They're ugly, and they're ugly on purpose. There's always a little bit of a Medicare update. It's like, what is Medicare Part B? Last time it was, how do you file an appeal? It's just a little something more about Medicare. Then you get down to the recipe. This is healthy tuna salad. We've had lentil soup. We've had chili for Super Bowl. This is the one that hopefully gets you on the fridge. They're always low cost and easy to make, because if it's got more than a couple ingredients or things you don't normally have in the house, it doesn't get printed.
We gotta remember that in case they asked us about the recipe.
That's why I posted ahead of time for you to take a peek, right? Okay?
Ask my wife.
Okay, let's talk about your finances, free consultation available. Okay, so this is where you're offering to help them with something else. There's always something under the recipe where you're offering to help them with something else, because people look at recipes, right? So we've done an annuity, we've done life insurance. This is a free consultation to make sure that they have all of their needs covered, okay? Everybody taking a look at it? Right, we'll talk insurance, financials, and more. There's no cost or obligation. It's great, no-cost chance to get some peace of mind about your financial planning. Would you all love to get a call that says, can you come out and talk to me? Okay, so this is the newsletter that goes out. When I talk about email best practices, right, go into all the people that got the email, right? So let's go back and pretend this is your system. Okay. And I go into my contacts. And on Wednesday, I'm going to pull up people that all have an email that says April newsletter, which is not here yet because it didn't go out, okay? So when the people go out, so let's just look at, it's going to say April 23 newsletter. Okay. 3 days after it goes out, okay, you're going to do your own marketing program. It's going to take you 2 minutes to do it, okay? You're going to check all the people that got your April newsletter. You're going to select all of them. You're going to come down and you're going to reinforce that little article with your own email campaign. And the email that you're going to pick to send to these people is the one that says Life Review. The Life Review offers a free consultation, right?
I don't need another gift card, but that's awesome.
Okay? So you're going to go in and you're going to
Exactly
do
what I
this, right? It's going to take you just as long as it took me. You pull up people that have an April newsletter tag, right? 3 to 4 days later, like before they forget, but not so soon that you're obnoxious, okay? 3 to 4 days later, go in, and then you're going to send an email, okay? It's going to get a tag on there that says quick email. Okay, at the bottom of each of these people, when you go in, it's going to remind you what email they got. When you go down here, the thing about the emails is it's really cool. it puts in there what it said, like quick email, I just made up junk, this was the March newsletter, this is when it got transferred, I just sent the like review, okay? So you're gonna go in and you're gonna send out the follow-up, then you're gonna call, or you're gonna email and say, did you want the free consultation? I saw you viewed the email, it was in my newsletter, if you missed it in the newsletter, I sent you a follow-up, right? It took 2 minutes, even if you got one person to bite, it's the cheapest appointment you're gonna have all week.
It'll track it to see who opened it.
Yeah, it'll tell you viewed.
Can I
On the front
send-
screen.
Can I send the email newsletter out myself, or does it have to come from you?
I'll tell you what, I like to do it automatically, right? But you can, it'll only go once. You can do it yourself. What I do is, let me back up here, I'll show you. I have got to close the elk, right? You're watching him haunt me, right? So when you go in here, in the email, in the broadcast library, for anybody that you add into the system after the automated one goes out, right? So it should go out the middle of the month, but I held up this one, right? So it should go out the middle of the month. So if you added somebody into the system after, you could pick that person and go in and send them. I leave it in the broadcast email library, which is this
Okay,
drop-down box
yeah.
over here, until the next one goes up. So let's just say you're new to the system and you want to send it to your mom. There's always going to be a newsletter in there for you to send to somebody. You say, ooh, you like my picture?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have no picture, it just stays blue until you have a picture. And we'll talk about that after. All right?
What if you don't like it?
So for email best practices, right? So does everybody feel like they can do their own marketing campaign? Okay, could you pull in 5 people that own life insurance and send them the free Medicare guide offer? Sure. Could you tell me you want an email that says something else so you could do a different campaign that I haven't thought about yet? Come on. Yes, all right, right word. So, and it takes 2 minutes, right? We watched it take me 2 minutes.
So how long does it take for you to get something in there? Like, one of the things we have here is, we were featured in Forbes magazine a few months back. So we have a thing that says featured in Forbes mag. We were South Carolina's featured financial institution. We got a little platinum for this. We got a little brag piece that, featured in Forbes magazine. It's really working really well for us. We'd like to get that out to everybody.
Okay.
So is that something that we can?
We can
work
make an
on?
email out of that and put it in
With
your
a link
broadcast
to
library.
the thing.
And it's got a link. It's also on the Forbes site. It's got a
We
link.
should put it on your on everybody here's webpage,
Yes.
and they should be able to link.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
For the email broadcast, is everyone who has an email, you talked about it earlier, somebody under 40, do you have to tag them to get the broadcast email and not, or is it
So-
automatic?
No, right now, everybody gets the e-newsletter. The broadcast emails, you check the boxes next to the names for the people you want to get those.
Okay.
You can either do it one at a time or pull your 5 out of your 10,000 and click all. Okay? All right, so everybody understands that they're doing all this now? Don't you feel good about how you treat your clients and prospects? All right. All right, so this is what the newsletters look like. This is how you do that campaign, policyholder cross-sell program. All right, so we talked about segmenting your database to policyholders that own the same product and sending them a like email, right? We talked about segmenting them for what month you want to call them, right? Put in a tag for January and July on the first part of the alphabet or a certain anniversary date or birth month. All right,
I got
so, yeah.
Quick question. This may be being a little lazy, but as far as most of our clients, no, seriously, most of our clients that we have that are in the database, we probably don't have their email addresses.
Yeah.
And we can
No.
get on the phone with all of them and say, what's your email address? Could we send out a broadcast letter to all of our clients saying, get me your email address, send this back, we need it?
Yeah, as soon as we
Yeah.
finalize what you need a co-branded newsletter, right? So if we're gonna spend the money to do that in paper, we wanna make sure that it really looks great. Maybe we'll put the Forbes thing in there too. We're gonna mail it out one time, and then everybody's gonna call to follow up and say, did you like it? Oh, great, to keep getting it, I need your email address. Yeah. Now, it's gonna be available quarterly if you wanna choose, like some people don't have an email address or they're never gonna give it to you, so paper will always be available quarterly. It's just, when you look at the person, it doesn't cost you anything to get the email address. And eventually, like, today's 65-year-old is different than tomorrow's 65-year-old. Eventually, you won't have to mail. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When I was looking at the newsletter, at the top, it gives you the links to be able to connect to Facebook and things like that. So are you saying that we can send the actual newsletter out?
That's the way I got the PDF in there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this isn't something we can.
No, I
actually-
turned off blogging and social media because of the compliance
That's what I
nightmare.
was wondering,
Yeah, however, this time next year, if the company has guidelines on what you can do, there's a way. So something really cool that's turned off, right, that I'd love your feedback on is, if I put weekly blog content out there that was approved, would you add it to your page? Would you participate?
Yeah.
Right, so, I mean, that's different in every branch, and it's a little bit beyond, like, initial training. So, yeah, there's blog features, it connects to social, like, you can actually have links to your page that you can tweet and stuff like that. It seemed a little hard place to start.
Yeah.
So it's off.
Thank you.
It's there, but it's off.
Well, but you look at every company out there using Facebook as a marketing tool
Right.
these days, so it's definitely worth looking at.
Right. So one of the things I take really seriously is not doing anything that would get anybody in trouble. And so to that extent, stuff's turned off, but it would be really cool to turn it back on.
So soon.
Yeah.
Soon, yes.
You get a gift card. All right, so yeah. So anyhow, so in the very beginning, I said you have to be comfortable with how you look, right? So you have to trust and learn to do the right thing on your behalf. So this is how you look, right? So that's how you look with the lead pieces, the letters, the emails, the newsletters, the webpage, and that's the piece in the middle holds it together. So that's how you look. So when you opt in and you participate, this is the kind of packaging you get. Okay. Now that book I talked about, the cool book from Boston College, is going to go next to this book, and then the long-term care book is going to go over here, so it won't be lonely by itself. The other thing about the web page is, if you're just talking to people at a Christmas party or whatever, and Medicare comes up, or what do? Send people to your page to get free stuff. Right? It takes you no time and no money. Right? So you now have your own library, people can go and shop. Okay? All right, so I know I talked for a really long time, but in summary, so improved data capture will help you build your senior market lead database with permission-based email addresses. So you know how there's do not call, right? There's going to be do not email. There's litigation in 5 states. It's really like, it's not getting pushed through, but it could happen. And the one exception all the time is unless you have a permission-based list. Permission-based means the person gave you their email. We scan and keep and library every lead where the person writes their email address. Permission-based includes if they gave it to you over the phone. Permission-based is any shared directory where your email is in there and their email is in there, right? So my kids' PTO, anything like that, kids' sports teams. If my email's in there for contact information, I can email anybody else in there. It's considered permission. If it's on a business card, right? So it's pretty liberal. Right? So start building your permission-based list. If you take a fact find dress
Mass marketing
right?
garbage that we get in our.
So we don't buy lists for email.
Yeah.
They're not good, and you get spammed, and that's how you lose your credibility. The other thing about permission-based lists is you can be liberal if the email service you're using to deliver the email has an unsubscribe button. We have an unsubscribe at the top and the bottom. So you can be pretty liberal on being able to email people because you have unsubscribed. We also handle the canned spam compliance rules for all of American Senior Benefits, which is good and bad. So if somebody unsubscribed to your neighbor branch, you can't email them either. But what it means is everybody else can always continue to email because nobody got anybody else in trouble. Right? That's how that works. So you want to start to do email capture. It saves you money. You're also going to end up, if you do this right and you do this all the time, one of the companies that retains access to your market when other people are figuring out how to get a hold of people, right? No one watches commercials, no one answers the phone, pretty soon they're not going to look at email, so you want to be able to continue to get a hold of people, so you have to do it right, and you have to get a permission-based list. Leads have higher conversion rates or increased commissions per lead worked, so we have to work on that here, I know, but that's generally part of the summary. Easy customer access can lead to higher commission sales, less product vulnerability, and increased client retention. So anybody in here who likes your renewals, they just got stronger because you're paying attention to people and you did nothing for that to happen. Okay? And I'm done. Any other questions? All right, I have 2 remaining gift cards and I'm not leaving with them.
Are there alerts for where you can link to your cell phone at all?
Can it push to your cell phone? I don't know.
Well, there you go.
There you go. It's a question I couldn't answer.
You got one.
I got a breakfast one.
All right, 2 shy people. We have 2 gift cards left.
Matt, let me trade.
You get one, Greg?
Nothing?
Greg asked all the best questions today.
No, you asked for shy people.
He should have one.
excuse me? Yeah, he should.
He's like the expert in
He's probably used this system more than anybody else besides John too.
All right,
he probably has too.
and Brad, I have a question, who simply likes Dunkin' Donuts?
Hey,
Providence, Rhode Island.
No, you're not.
One, Randy.
He likes them again.
yeah, sure.
She's getting one for yelling at you.
Look, I mean, all the time.
Thank you, y'all know how to reach me. They have all my phone numbers. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
That's great.